BehindTheMicShow.com, the official Behind the Mic app. Also streaming right now online as well. Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, you name it. We are covering the gamut. The ESPY Awards are going on right now, tonight here in LA. Keith, some of the very best that the sports world has to offer. Can't wait to see how everything pans out tonight. We'll talk about it as we go along this evening. Don't forget, new time, 7 to 8 Pacific, 1 hour, as we start to get ready for our big debut on KABC Radio on Monday, August the 6th. Also, the big news today in sports, Kawhi Leonard, he is now a Toronto Raptor, but for how long? We'll talk about that in just a second. Just after 7:30 tonight, we will speak with Luke Norris, a good friend of the show from fansided.com. We will do a official preview of the British Open starting across the pond tomorrow at Carnoustie, the golf course over there. They're saying it's one of the toughest in the sports world, almost comparable with Shinnecock, what we saw last month at the U.S. Open. We'll get Luke's thoughts on it, though, at just around 7:35. Keith, what's going on tonight? We're back in action here, second night back at Grunions, one of our favorite spots.
Yeah, it's a great spot to be at. Great food. As you know, I just finished eating a nice hickory burger over here.
They always do them up just right.
They right. Every time I come in here, it's hilarious. Like, every time I come in here, they always, as soon as I sit down, the lovely waitress here goes, "Do you want anything?" Or already knows, like, you want a root beer right now? And I'm like, man, like, this is so predictable. So now I'm trying to switch it up on her. Like, can I have a Sprite? Or I'll just do water this time. But no, the food's great. Great time in sports. You know, MLB baseball last night, All-Star game. You know, it was a great game, great competitive game.
It really was. You called that extra innings.
Yep,
you were the first one to mention that one. 8-6, I believe, was the final. The American League
won.
You know, ho-hum, they win again. I think it's like 6 in a row now.
Exactly.
But a good game nonetheless.
And Machado is now officially a Dodger. So
we're back to Mannywood.
Yes.
Remember Mannywood with Ramirez?
Yes, absolutely.
We're turning back the clocks. Different Manny, though, obviously, this time. Eminem, Manny Machado, coming out here. And, hey, they gave up 5 prospects for him. But, like we said last night, we credit this Dodger front office because they're being aggressive.
Yeah.
And they're trying to win here and now in 2018.
Man, is this Magic Johnson's year or is this Magic Johnson's year?
Midas touch right now. Everything's turning to gold.
I mean, hey, I think he deserves an ESPY award. What's going on right now? When all this stuff is done over here. But, yeah, it's a great time to be in L.A. and big news, like you said today, about Kawhi Leonard moving over to the East. What the Spurs said that they were going to do, they just did the historical thing. It was like, yo, this is the second, probably arguably the second best player in the league. We're getting him out of here. I only want to play him twice a year, not 3-4 times a year. So,
were you surprised it was Toronto?
You know what? I'm a little. I'm not too surprised. Because the Spurs were not going to give him up to the Lakers. But you know, I'm interested to find out what, in terms of DeMar DeRozan's camp, like how they feel about it. I haven't talked to the guys over there yet. But I'm sure after you saw DeRozan's tweet today or Instagram story that, you know, no loyalty to the team and things like that. He was really loyal to Toronto and him leaving. That's kind of heartbreaking on his part, but you know that's part of the program of the NBA. So yeah, I think we got both sides. You got Kawhi Leonard, people that are not happy, are probably not happy because he went to Toronto and it's not LA. And then you got DeMar DeRozan's people who's like, man, signed this big multi-deal last year, and now he's gone to the Spurs. So and he was loyal to the city. So you know it's fortunate, but that's part of the NBA. So we'll just have to see. I'm interested to find out what each other's camps and stuff, what they have to say about it, especially DeMar DeRozan's camp, because I'm pretty sure, you know, he's a guy that I can just say this. He is a guy that he's a very professional person. He's professional at what he does, and he's, you know, he's probably bitter right now about it, but he's a professional and he's going to go out there and perform and do what he needs to do to win. So.
Like you said, it's a business at the end of the day. You can only feel so, you know, sympathetic, I believe. Now, he did come out this year. He was very brave in that. Him and Kevin Love, also of the Cavs, talked about some of the things they were battling off the court. And obviously, we have to be very sympathetic to that, sensitive to it. I think that it would only be unfair not to be. So it's obviously it's a fine line to walk here. If you're an executive with any of these teams, trying to obviously you want to do good by all players, but at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, the bottom line is it is a business, and you have to do what's best for the organization.
Yeah.
For the Raptors going forward here, I don't know if it really makes them that much better. I don't think they're better than Boston. I don't think they're better than Philly. And, that's assuming that Kawhi is fully able and willing to participate as a member of Toronto. So I do think they have a long way to go. I think Toronto is going to ultimately be rebuilding anyhow. I think San Antonio is a little delusional, Keith, actually, in my opinion, in thinking that Popovich seems like he just wants to move on, turn the page, and this team is going to be ready to win in like a year or so. And they're starting major rebuilding down there in San Antonio.
Okay, well, I have to disagree with you in some aspects of it. I'll go with the first your comment about the rebuilding thing with Toronto. I think Toronto, if Kawhi Leonard plays like Kawhi Leonard can play 2 years ago, then I'll have to say this, that they would be number 2 they'll probably be number 2 in the East for sure. If he can play like he played 2 years ago, they'll be a number 2 team in the East. That's how good he is. And if Danny Green can shoot the ball, and it all depends on the system they run. However, you got a very unhappy Kawhi that says that I want to be in L.A., and he's not in L.A. On the flip side, when we go down to the Spurs, now I agree with you in terms of the Spurs are not going to be as good as what they used to be. However, I don't think they're really in a rebuilding stage because I think Popovich don't want to be in his mind. He's probably only got a couple more years. He's going to want to coach anyway. So I think he wants to win. And I think that's why the move they made was like, look, we're going to get something. Let's go get another All-Star. So I think picking up DeMar DeRozan is honestly, I think it's a good move on both parts, man. To be honest with you get an All-Star for an All-Star. And
he was in the East though.
He was in the East, but
he's
DeMar
going to the West.
But DeMar still can play with the best with those guys like that's in the West, and he still can put up 20. He's put up 25 something a game. He's capable of doing that even in the West. And think about now, he's got a better coach. So
that's a good point.
He's got a better coach now.
There's going to be an adjustment period, though.
Yeah, there's going to be an adjustment period, and then he's got LaMarcus Aldridge there with him. So he's got some pieces that went Popovich, and look, they did pretty solid in the summertime as well. So with the guys they have and the pieces they have, I'm gonna say that they got some picks and things like that. But I think they're maybe top. They're probably in the top 5, like you had said off air. I think top 5, maybe top 5 team. But they're definitely. I don't want to say rebuilding with them because they got an All-Star for an All-Star. So
they did. Although Kawhi is
way
head and shoulders above
yeah,
DeRozan.
He definitely is, but it depends on the type of Kawhi you're going to get. Now, what I think is now the Lakers should go make a play at Kawhi because that would be the smart move because I think, look, the person that comes out the best out of this deal is going to be honest with you, is the Spurs because they're going to get a guy. They're going to get Popovich is going to talk to DeMar. DeMar's a professional. We all know that. DeMar's not going to be the type of person who's going to sit there and say, I'm not going to play or I'm not going to do this and that. DeMar's going to come out there and play for the organization. And I think when it just comes back to contract time next time, he'll probably, and this is my opinion, I haven't talked to them, but I just think that he's going to make his decision in terms of like me. It's going to be about me now, not about the team anymore. Because he's done that in Toronto, and they did him dirty. Like Kenny Smith said it he interviewed with TMZ the other day today, and they did do it. They did him dirty.
But this is a business. We've seen so many times players that are maybe not like the best in the league, but they've put in some really good work and contributed to a franchise so well. But at the end of the day, we see guys get traded all the time.
I understand that.
It's nothing new.
I understand that, Brad. But when you sign a multi-million-dollar deal with a team, a franchise, and they want to build it around you, and then you go ahead and make a trade and blindside them, that's the part that I think is really like kind of like damn, like kind of hurts.
Here's the thing here, and you know why it hurts so much is because Toronto doesn't win. Toronto is not a winner. That's not a winning franchise. That's the problem. If everything they were doing up there was turning to gold, and if they were winning conference finals on a regular basis, and they were competing and they weren't getting absolutely throttled each year by a Cleveland Cavaliers team in the East and some other squads in the Eastern Conference, it'd be a different story, right? Because no one questions the executives who are able to pull the trigger on some big-time moves. It doesn't matter how talented or how prolific the player is. If it's working out great for that franchise on a regular basis, no one questions it. Just like no one questions winning. Yeah. But when it's going the other way, people dissect everything under a microscope.
Now, I will say this. I know an outside source I have talked to, not in DeMar DeRozan's camp or no one. I know an outside source I've spoke to before, and they said that they were going to basically, with the Toronto Raptors, in a year or in that trading dead period going to All-Star, they were going to blow up that team. So for this to happen earlier than what it is, it's...
I think it was inevitable at some point anyhow.
It happened, but... there was going to, so what
they didn't win. That core has not gotten it done.
Yeah.
And they're getting older.
Yeah, they definitely are. But I'll just say that, look, I think the better end of the stick has to go to the Spurs because they got DeMar DeRozan, who I think he'll be happy in San Antonio. I think right now it's bitter. It's tough. Right now it's tough. But I think at the end of the day, I think he'll be happy in San Antonio. I think Popovich will do some things, and he'll be happy. I think his game's going to even go. His game's going to even go even higher than what it is now. And then for Toronto, I think they're the loser in this situation. I think the Toronto Raptors and the Lakers should talk, and I think the Lakers should make a play and say, "Look, we'll give you Brandon Ingram and Lonzo for Kawhi Leonard." Now you're going to get a piece. Now you got something to build around. Toronto does is probably commit to the program, to commit to the franchise, and then the Lakers can get Kawhi Leonard in that deal. Because really, do we need Lonzo?
Lakers absolutely not.
We got
Toronto
though.
Be
great. I mean, Bi would be great to have, but now you got some pieces you can trade.
Oh yeah, they don't need them.
Pieces you really don't. You got Kyle Kuzma. So I think, and this is just my opinion, I think that they should. I think the Lakers should really make a play now that they can, because the Spurs did not want to do they didn't want to do any business with the Lakers. Lakers should go ahead and talk about that situation. I mean, look, they're good at what they have right now, and they don't have to do anything about it. They can just stay with what they have. The Lakers can. And
you're still a little concerned about the Paul George syndrome.
I'm mad about that. I'm very mad about that. But what I'm saying is they don't really have to do anything because Kawhi says he's going to come to L.A. anyway. And I think that, look, Kawhi's not staying in Toronto, even though Toronto's a great city. People, please understand that Toronto is a great city. Most NBA players love Toronto. I'm just letting you know right now that Toronto is a place that everybody they love.
You got Drake there. That's enough in itself.
Yeah, Drake there. Drake and Drake there. That's all we're gonna say.
That's all people need to know.
But it's a great place. It's a great city. But you got somebody like Kawhi Leonard. Like, he's just one of those guys that once he's made up his mind's made up. You're not going to change it.
That's been very clear.
Yeah,
if nothing else, that's been crystal clear.
You're not going to change it. And I think to benefit, like, only thing you're not getting out the East with Kawhi Leonard.
No, I just said you're not better than Boston.
You're not better than Boston. I said you're number 2 though. If Kawhi Leonard plays like he's been playing, they'll be number 2.
I don't think they're better than Philly. I don't think they're better than the Sixers.
If Kawhi Leonard plays like he did 2 years ago, they are better than Philly. They will smother Philly. I'm telling you, they will.
What's the second best option? Kyle Lowry?
They have Kyle Lowry there. I think DeLon Wright's a great player. I mean, it all depends on how these guys come back. Serge, it all depends.
So I would rather take a healthy Joel Embiid. Ben Simmons.
He's the best. He's probably the best
center in the league. There's a lot more firepower.
He's better, but you know what the problem is? They're younger. They're young guys. They got the experience, but you got another disgruntled team over there. You got a coach, number 1, that said he don't have enough talent to win, and he needs more. And clearly, you got enough talent.
Well, that's true. If talking about trying to beat Golden State, that's true.
No. Well, 76 getting out the East. Like, come on, get out of here. You have enough. You have enough talent to get out the East.
They could probably add another piece because they're not better than Boston.
they have enough talent to get out the East. They have enough talent. Dude, they have enough talent.
I don't think they do. That was on. We thought that. A lot of people were duped into thinking that, but a big reality check came when the Celtics beat them up.
Man, the Celtics that's because Celtics got a coach. Bradley Stevenson knows what he's doing.
That can cover a lot of miscomings.
That goes to my point. This coach over there in Philly don't know what the hell he's doing.
No, I think he knows what he's doing.
No, he does not. If you're gonna say that you need more talent and you got Joel Embiid, you got 3 first-round picks on your squad.
He's a good coach. I mean, he comes from the school of Popovich in San Antonio. He's a good coach. He knows what he's doing. Now, is he a Brad Stevens? No. Is he a Steve Kerr? No.
I'll say this. You cannot come out and say that we don't have enough talent and we need more to win. That's why, because you're telling your team and your players that you don't believe in them. That's number one. Number two is like players are not going to have confidence in you if you're going out and saying something like that.
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yes, I think there is a lot wrong with that. There's a lot wrong with that. You don't say that.
He's trying to fire up the team.
Bull.
They need another piece.
Bull,
They're not naive.
Brad,
they can't compete. They can't compete with Golden State. They got the big vision there. I mean, they're looking long term in Philly. They're looking for championships. They can't compete right now with the current squad. It's a nice team, but it's not good enough to get out of the East. They're probably missing. They could probably add another guy, or just develop some of these guys to just to get another year under their belt. Look, I think last year they learned a lot. Obviously, it was a breakout year for the Sixers. They're only going to improve next year.
You got Joel Embiid eating grapes before a game or eating a cheeseburger. That before a game. That's telling me you don't have no control over your team. Like, come on, you don't do stuff like that.
Control over the team and debating whether or not the team has enough firepower.
They got enough
is a different story.
They have enough firepower. They have a great team.
So you think they're just kind of lazy?
They're young. What do you? To me, it's like, what do you expect? Like, they're a young team. Like, they're a team that's the type of team. If you watch their games, there'll be games that they will blow a huge lead. They'll blow a huge lead in a matter of 2 minutes.
Yeah, we saw this. Yep.
We saw that. That's a young team. That's just a young team. But they can compete with everybody. Like, at one moment in time, we were talking Philadelphia in a final.
I know we were duped. We were totally off the reservation on that one.
Because they're young. They'll be able to close the deal. I believe they'll be able to close the deal when it comes down to it. But they just need a little bit more guidance, and I think that's what it is. Yes, everybody can add a little piece to something, but they're a good team, man.
The jury is definitely out. I'll definitely give you that. There's no question. And maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh. Maybe we should get another year under our belt and seeing them play. But from what I saw last year, and I could be wrong because they could develop and they could get better, but I still think that they're never going to win a championship in Philly with this current group. If they're going to win a championship in the next couple of years or, down the line, it's probably going to be because they added someone else, in my opinion. It's not going to be with the exact same cast of characters.
Yeah. Time will tell.
Yeah.
I'll say that. Time will tell, but I'll just say that, look, the Lakers should definitely – I think Toronto loses in this situation. People say, oh, it was a great move. They got the best player right now, probably the second, third best player in the league. Well, you only got him for a year, so you got to look at the future because he's not staying. He's not.
I can't picture him. I tweeted out this earlier today. I can't even picture him playing in Toronto, let alone re-signing a long-term deal.
That's the interesting part. And that's another thing I have to say. Did that conversation happen? Did the Spurs have a conversation say, hey, we're going to trade you to Toronto? Because for me,
I don't think so. I think
what I'm saying is,
I think it was one-sided.
For me to pull that trigger, Toronto had to know that, look, okay, he's going to come because to give up an all-star DeMar DeRozan. You know what I mean? Like, you just don't give up a DeMar DeRozan and not have a conversation knowing that he may be there.
He had no choice.
So, yeah, it's true. But I'm interested to see. I really hope I hope I get some information during the show so I can come out with it and let you guys know or something. But
that'd be great.
I really want to hear something about because this is interesting to see. And, yeah, the way how Kawhi's been so stubborn and saying, I want to come to L.A., I mean, for me, I think the Lakers need to make a move now. I don't think they do. They don't. I'm saying this. They really don't have to make a move for the simple fact that he's going to come anyway. That's the possibility.
We think so.
We think so. We thought that with Paul George, but we don't have nothing to say about that.
The Paul George syndrome is still well alive and good, and although we're probably feeling right now 85, 90% sure that he is going to be a Laker in the near future, there's still this small percentage that still kind of resonates in all Lakers fans and everyone in this area at this point that they're like, I don't know. There's a little bit of doubt still, but I'm with you. I think he is going to come here long term. The question is basically, okay, let's look at it from this perspective. Kawhi's already come out and said he has zero interest in playing in Toronto. Now, is he going to sit out the beginning of the season? I think he will. I think he will sit at the beginning of the season. Now, there's some reports. I believe the Sporting News put out a report earlier today that it's possible, at least in Kawhi's mind, that he has no intentions of playing the entire year.
Yeah.
Now, here's the danger with this, though, Keith. There is mechanisms in the CBA that kind of they already somewhat foresee this in players, and it's a way for teams to protect themselves. That basically there's mechanisms in the CBA that if he were to sit out the whole year, it would almost be like they would redo the contract over again for another year. So you see what I'm saying? There's a lot of fine lines here, and a lot of things that he has to be careful with, and his camp has to be careful with how they go about this. But
because legally, it's like binding a contract.
Right, exactly, and that's the thing. It's like you obviously don't want that to happen. You're playing with fire in that sense.
You know what?
So he's got to be careful.
But also, this will say something about Kawhi, because it's a lack of unprofessionalism. Let's call it what it is. Look, I would love to have Kawhi Leonard over here at the Lakers. I'm a purple and gold to the day I die.
Exactly.
But the bottom line is, you cannot look. Be a professional about it. Go ahead, play the year, come back, and then we can get ready to go and just come out the following year. That just shows your character.
I agree. No question about it. That's really what it's about, is being professional, and we've seen a lack of that.
Yeah.
There's no question.
There's been a lack of that in his whole camp and him.
It's tough because, like, I can see both sides of the coin from his predicament, and I still believe that we are never going to know the full extent of what went down in San Antonio. We will one day, but it's going to be, 10, 15 years plus down the line.
Yeah.
We're not going to find that out until then. So there's a lot of things to, you got to take everything with a grain of salt in this situation. That's how I've approached it, just really viewing it so far. And we'll have to see how it goes along, but I do believe he probably will start the year away from the team. I think he is going to somewhat hold out. And if that's the case, we'll have to see. But where things stand right now, the Lakers are in a good spot, however you slice it. It's Behind the Mic. We're live here from Grunions. We're coming back for more after this.
There's a threat targeting America. One that's growing fast, but may still be hard to see. Lyme disease. Spread by tiny ticks, often smaller than the head of a pin. This dangerous disease is now more widespread than West Nile, tuberculosis, and HIV/AIDS combined. And if left untreated, it can lead to arthritis, facial paralysis, and even memory and concentration problems, often called brain fog. As the threat of Lyme disease grows to more than 300,000 projected cases each year, it's time for us to target Lyme disease. That means checking for ticks when you've been outside, even in your own backyard. It means seeing a doctor if you experience the symptoms of Lyme disease, which can include joint pain, flu-like symptoms, fever, fatigue, or sometimes a bullseye-shaped rash. Set your sights on stopping Lyme. Learn how you can target Lyme disease at targetlyme.org.
Hey, what's up,
By
bud?
the Stephen and Alexandra Cohen Foundation in this station.
Oh, yeah. It said the number wasn't working, so.
Possible. They tame dragons. They bring Saturn to Earth.
All right, buddy. Sounds
Save
good.
entire cities.
All right.
They even make unicorns fly. All to give children the strength they need to fight their critical illnesses. Every wish takes muscle. Help us make sure every wish comes true. Join us at wish.org.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Behind the Mic with Brad Dalius.
All right, buddy.
Welcome back Behind the Mic, live from Grunions Sports Bar and Grill, Manhattan Beach. Brad and Keith hanging out on this Wednesday night, this ESPY evening. ESPY's going on right now, of course, here in Los Angeles, not too far from where we're broadcasting from. We'll talk about that later on tonight. Before the break, we were talking about the big news today, which is the Kawhi Leonard trade. Are the Lakers in a good spot? It looks that way. We'll see how things play out. We're going to switch gears, though, now and preview the British Open from across the pond, the Open Championship getting underway tomorrow. Keith, from Carnoustie, a very, very difficult golf course. Some people are saying it's maybe the equivalent of Shinnecock at the U.S. Open from what we saw just a month ago. We shall see. But a guy who knows all about this is our good friend Luke Norris from fansided.com. He's a writer for them. Check him out on Twitter at the Luke Norris, the LukeNorrisExperiment.com. Everything he's putting out there. Luke, it's great to have you on the show tonight, my friend. How are things going?
Good, Brad, Keith, what's going on, guys?
Hey, what's going on?
Trying to handicap the Open Championship. It's going to be another wild weekend, I think. At this point, I'm looking at it this way. With these 2018 majors so far, with the Masters, the U.S. Open, and coming up with the Open Championship, it's kind of, the motto is expect the unexpected. Does that sound about right?
I think so. The way things play, the Masters, you usually know what you're going to get. The Masters is always going to be just what it is. We see the course every April, and we get used to Jim Nance and Hello Friends and just the beauty of the place. And then, you switch gears and you get to a tough test usually, like the U.S. Open. And this year was obviously absolutely just crazy with the way things were playing out at Shinnecock Hills and the course and. Where Shinnecock Hills was kind of the focus of the week, and as opposed to any one player, and I think we're setting up the same way with a difficult place like Carnoustie.
Luke, and we talked about before the U.S. Open how bad it was in terms of the players, just how tough and difficult that course was, and how does some of these guys who were favored to win it, or thought would be favored to win it, how do they get out of that going into tomorrow? And we see them in the British Open. Did you hear me?
Are we still there? We're cutting out a little bit.
I think we got you back now, Luke.
Hey, Luke, did you hear my question at all?
I did not.
Okay, I was just asking in terms of how do these guys bounce back from a difficult, U.S. Open that they had in last month. How do they bounce back going into the British Open, knowing that this is a tough and difficult course?
Brad, I got to tell you, I cannot hear a thing that you're saying. There's a woman's voice that
No problem, Luke.
It's going right over me.
It's another raucous, great crowd here at Grunions, so it's always a little challenging. But basically, Keith's question was...
I understand.
Keith's question was basically to the fact of we saw how tough it was for some of these guys at Shinnecock last month. Does that have a carryover effect in a sense, or are guys able to rebound? Obviously, each major is a little different to itself, but could there potentially be a carryover effect with... the fact that this is another difficult golf course for them this week?
Yeah. I mean, I think they have to have the same mentality going in, but it's going to be strange because it's going to be a little opposite this time around. I mean, you still get the link style layout, Carnoustie and all of that, but the way that it's set up this year and just the conditions that are going to be going on. I mean, whereas Shinnecock Hills, you had these lightning quick, slick, fast, just crazy greens. Phil Mickelson will tell you all about that. It's going to be changed up this year because, I mean, the Open usually has slower greens, but the fairways are going to be running so hot this week. There's been essentially no rain in Scotland this summer. I mean, and these things are just running out. The place is burned out. The fairways are brown. So yes, there is some carryover. I mean, I think that just happens with major golf. But, I mean, I think you're always going to be thinking about the next one, no matter which one you're talking about. And, no, I mean, these guys are in for a tough test this week.
Luke, what about Tiger? How do you think he's going to fare out, and what does he need to do to actually really be in the game until the end, until the final round? What needs to happen to him this upcoming week?
The way things are running with Tiger, he really just needs to get off to a good start. And that's been the case with him. I mean, he'll have these amazing stretches where, I mean, we'll just see just all these flashbacks of what we were used to seeing for so many years. And then but it hasn't been 4 rounds. And I think it's important for him to get off to a good start. Just let people know that he's there. I mean, at the U.S. Open, I mean, he went out and tripled the first hole, essentially just took himself out of the running right away, just with that problem around the green and then the putting and all of that. And it'd be interesting to see what strategy he's going to use this week. He's along with a few other guys. I mean, he's been testing this new driving iron that TaylorMade has. Because he's switched over to the TaylorMade equipment there, and has been testing out this great new driving iron. I mean, guys like John Rahm and Tommy Fleetwood and guys like that have all been testing it as well. And I think he's going to be hitting iron off the tee most of the time. It's a strategy that's worked for him before. He used that in 2006 when he last won the Open at the Royal Liverpool, and he only hit one driver all week and went on to shoot 18 under that week. It's positioning, it's just avoiding the bunkers, and something that he can do. I mean, two of the biggest problems with Tiger so far has been his driving accuracy, which I don't even think will come into play this week, and obviously his putting. But his putting is, he switched putters, and putting improved at the Quicken Loans National a couple weeks ago. I mean, coming in, he went 65, 68, 66. So, I mean, it's just I think it's just a matter of getting that first round in and putting up a good score, just letting the guys know that he's still out there.
We're previewing the Open Championship with Luke Norris from Fansided.com. Jordan Spieth was a player who was almost MIA at the U.S. Open last month in New York. And this is a guy who, when he was able to win his majors in recent years, he had his complete game going. From off the tee, his approach shots, everything in and around the green. His short game has just been killing him recently, Luke. What does he need to do this week to get the short game going?
Yeah, I don't. It's very strange to watch him like that. I mean, because like you said, I mean, he's still hitting the ball well. I mean, he's 14th on the PGA Tour in strokes gained tee to green, but I mean, you're right. When he was winning, those majors a few years back, I mean, he was the best putter in the world. I mean, he was just dropping bombs from everywhere. And on the PGA Tour right now, I mean, he's 175th in putting, and that's just crazy for me to even process. I mean, he's 202nd in putts 3 feet or less, and I think he just has to get out of his head. I think that's the big thing right now. I mean, anyone who plays golf will tell you. I mean, we all know how mental the game is and all that, and I just think that's it. I mean, I don't know if you want to call it the putting yips or just whatever. I mean, Tiger went through that a few years back with his chipping and all that, where he had zero confidence in the chipping, and I don't think Jordan Spieth has any confidence in his putter right now. And I think it's gonna matter if he just goes out early on, and if he can make a few birdie putts, lengthy ones, or even just the short little 3-foot ones like I was talking about. I think that's gonna give him a lot of confidence going forward. And
golf is a funny sport. It's easy come, easy go, right? Sometimes there's no rhyme or reason that guy is having a great short game, the putting's on. Next week, it's off. It's any given weekend.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the difficult thing when talking about Tiger and trying to handicap how he's going to potentially do this weekend. We just don't know because it could be this weekend, talking about Tiger specifically, but at the same time, he could just easily have another round of golf like he did last month during the U.S. Open. So it's very difficult, I believe, to handicap some of these players.
Oh, it is. I mean, that's just the way it is with anybody. I mean, and you saw what Shinnecock Hills did to the best players in the world last month. I mean, it killed Rory, it killed Jason Day, it killed Jordan Spieth. Just all of these top guys. I mean, they could not handle the place. And it was just one guy, just pretty much surviving and outlasting everybody. Brooks Koepka to go on and win his second consecutive Open.
You mentioned Koepka. Back-to-back U.S. Opens, obviously. It seems like this is the guy who can break through and really get to be a consistent golfer as far as winning majors. Is this maybe a week that he can carry over the momentum from winning the U.S. Open last month and possibly be a big-time player this week?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's up to 4th in the world already. That's what back-to-back U.S. Open wins will do for you. The whole thing with Koepka, I mean, he doesn't win. He doesn't win a lot, like on tour. But this is a guy. He just loves to play in major championships. You look at his last 10 majors. His lowest finish in his last 10 was 21st, and that was at the Masters in 2016. But in that span, he's got 6 top 10s. That obviously includes the the U.S. Open win. He tied for 6th at the Open last year at Royal Birkdale. And the guy has got serious game. You've seen the guy. You see how strong he is. Even
like
if
a
he gets in the rough
linebacker
this week. Oh, he does. He does. The guy is just an absolute specimen. Can kill the ball, but has such a touch around the greens. Can make putts. The guy has a total package. And like I said, he's one of those guys that is just always around in a major championship. And I don't think that changes this week.
True or false, Dustin Johnson has the most pressure on him to win this week?
I'd say false. There's always pressure to win when you're the number one player in the world. It's weird, though, with a guy like DJ because he doesn't get – I don't think he gets the criticism that a lot of other players get. You remember back in the day when –
Oh, he gets it on this show. He's gotten it on this show a little bit. To be completely honest, he has a little bit. This is a guy who, let's face it, there's been so much hype with him, and it looked like it was all set up for him to win last month before Koepka kind of swooped in and took it away from him. He has somewhat not lived up to expectations in certain moments when the lights are the brightest. I think that's fair.
Oh, no, and they'll agree with you. He does have a problem closing out. You look at Chambers Bay in 2015 at the U.S. Open. Had that little gimme almost, and couldn't get it done. He's done that a couple different times. The thing with DJ, he still wins. The guy's got 18 PGA Tour wins and a win in each of his first 11 seasons and all of that. Only Jack and Tiger have longer stretches than that, and like I said, still the number one player in the world, and 15 top 10s in majors, and he's got tied for 10th, I think, at the Masters this year, and 3rd at the Open, and but yeah, you're right, he just sometimes can't close. It's always funny when you talk about DJ though. I watch him do these things, and just kind of falter there at the end of some majors and not be able to close and all of that. And then it's like, he takes these big checks home. You see Paulina there, and it's like, okay, is this guy's life really that bad? Should I feel sorry for him? I don't.
Another guy that people are talking about this week is Rory McIlroy. What is it about his game right now that makes you confident that he can come out on top this week?
Rory, for those out there who've read my fan-sided stuff all golf season, I have picked him in every major thus far, and this week is no exception. And I don't know why I keep doing it. Because the guy's not doing anything spectacular. He was right there at Augusta. Finished tied for fourth. Nobody was beating Patrick Reed that week. Saw a couple guys trying to get close, but Reed was just on fire that week. I don't know what it is about Rory that he's been very consistent at this championship. Fun fact, his major debut was at Carnoustie in 2007. So there's that. That's fun. He was the low amateur there. But he's 10th in tee to green. So he's hitting irons decently and still killing the ball. He's averaging 317 yards off the tee and all of that, which I think he'll probably get a little aggressive this week. And he's strong enough, obviously, because the rough at the Open this week, it's not playing thick. It's very thin, very wispy. So the guys with strength are going to be able to have no problem getting it out of that stuff. And if he can avoid the bunkers, he'll be fine. The accuracy isn't the greatest right now, but there's just something that tells me. In his last three Opens, he missed 2015 with the ankle thing, but in 14 he won. In 16 he tied for fifth, tied for fourth last year. So he likes playing this championship, and I don't know. There's something that tells me that he can win and might win. But then I picked him last month at the U.S. Open, and he went out and missed the cut, which I said could happen, but was hoping it wouldn't. But I don't know. It's been almost 4 years since he's won a major, and that seems like an eternity for somebody like him. So I think he can put it all together. But again, he might go out tomorrow and put up a 78 and just go away. Who knows?
Once again, chatting with Luke Norris from fansided.com, the LukeNorrisExperiment.com as well.
So, Luke, who's your sleeper?
Experience.
Luke, who's your sleeper for this tournament?
LukeNorrisExperience.com. Just letting everybody know.
So, Luke, who's your sleeper for this tournament coming up? Who you think's going to surprise a lot of people?
The sleeper, it's hard to pick sleepers. With the talent pool that's out there right now. You take a guy like Henrik Stenson. He's down to 17th in the world. But he set the scoring record 2 years ago at 20 under. So I like him this week. The big pick this week is world number 10 Tommy Fleetwood, who just was mesmerizing on that last day at Shinnecock. Putting up a 63 and just waiting all day to see if he was going to get into the playoff, and obviously missed out on it by one. Do we call Ricky Fowler a sleeper? Because everybody's still waiting for that guy to break out, but he's still seventh in the world.
He's been close.
Yeah, he's been close so many times, and I wanted to pick him. It's hard to when he hasn't broken through yet. But if you're going full sleeper, a guy like Mark Leishman, I think could play well. Charlie Hoffman's name is always seems to be around at least for a round or two in majors. Tony Finau kind of broke through a little bit this year at the Masters, and
that guy, by the way, maybe the toughest guy on the tour right now, with him battling through the broken ankle at the Masters, and this guy is
crazy.
He's kind of like a player or like a fan's player, if that makes sense, right? Tough guy.
He's very easy to like. He just watching him celebrate, making that hole in one, and then watching that ankle just pop out. I was watching that live, and I was just like, oh my God! He just kind of just put it back in right there, and it's like, okay, I'm good to go. And then went out and played the Masters. I don't know if you saw the pictures afterwards, but holy cow, it was disgusting. But he's really coming into his own as a player out there, and I certainly think he's one to watch this week.
Would you allow Phil Mickelson to hit a flop shot over you? We all saw this. It went viral on social media, hitting a flop shot over his friend, I believe. And I'm speechless. What can you say? I mean, it's unbelievable. Talk about confidence to allow someone to do it. I don't think.
I wrote a little piece on that, and because the guy's always been just a magician around the greens and all that with these kind of shots, and I mean, there's a lot of guys out there that can pull off shots like that, but I mean, you're talking about standing in front of a guy taking a full swing with a golf club. I mean, right in your face, and I don't know if I could do it.
I wouldn't allow Tiger Woods to do it in his prime when he's wearing his red golf shirt on Sundays. Yeah. I'll put it to you like that. I'm not going to be the one, who risks it all on that one. I can't quite do it. So props to those people who can. Obviously, these guys are some of the best in the world at what they do, but I don't know. I'm not willing to take a walk out on the plank for that one.
No, but have you seen all these guys that let John Daly hit a golf ball out of their mouth?
Yeah, crazy.
Those guys are insane. Because this is Phil Mickelson is one thing. John Daly is a wild man, and I mean, you don't know what he's been drinking all day when he's doing that, but
yeah, he does some crazy things.
I saw that video. Yeah, it was absolutely crazy.
Follow him on Twitter at the Luke Norris. Luke, we appreciate it tonight. Real quick before we let you go, tonight is the ESPYs, like I said there at the outset. What's your play of the year in sports? What stood out to you?
The play of the year in sports. Wow, that's
it's a little loaded.
That's a very loaded question. You could go with one of LeBron's buzzer beaters there in the playoffs. I think that's up there. Geez, man, you got to prepare me for these kind of things.
What's Luke Norris? What's Luke Norris's favorite play of the year in golf?
That's a tough call. There's so many up. Golly. If we're talking just favorite actual play.
I know we're putting you on the spot a little bit, but
that is. I like.
We only do that to our best guests, Luke. We only do it to the best of the best.
Here's my issue, because I remember the one guy hit for the Celtics, but it pains me because I'm a Lakers guy. Don't know if you guys, folks out there in the West. I'm a Midwest guy, but I'm a West Coast Lakers guy too. So I know you guys have been discussing Kawhi and all that stuff all day and what that means next year. So,
yeah, Luke does bleed purple and gold.
Yeah, you're going to chat with me about that, then I'll be happy to come on and do that too. But no, gosh, there's so many to pick from. Yeah, right now I'd have to say just something LeBron. Just watching him do anything is just amazing. So I'll just say anything LeBron. I'll keep it vague. I'm essentially copping out.
You can't go wrong there.
No, you can't. But you got to go with the one. The one I got to go with is the women's championship NCAA tournament. The girl from Notre Dame before the Final Four. In the Final Four, she hits the last second shot, and then she did it again for the national championship.
Well,
I forgot her name twice. The girl from Notre Dame.
That one. Yeah,
from Notre Dame.
Yes,
I wish I had her name on the top of my head, but I gotta go. She has to be, to me, the play of the year for sure.
No, that's a good call on that one, Keith. Yeah, I think I might go with you there.
Thanks,
Luke.
Luke.
For bailing me out.
No problem. Always a pleasure, Luke.
All
we
right,
appreciate
guys.
the time. Enjoy the Open Championship this weekend.
Will do. Thanks, guys.
There he goes once again. Luke Norris, fansided.com. Great stuff he's always putting out there, as well online at the Luke Norris Experience.com. Follow him on Twitter at the Luke Norris. Getting us all set for the Open Championship starting tomorrow. Tiger, Phil, the rest of the field. This is a tough one to predict, Keith, because, like I said, it could be the weekend for Tiger. We mentioned earlier how he is adding a new iron driver, which he'll probably use off the tee quite often this week. It could be a little tricky getting off the tee of some of those holes out there. But, it could be the weekend, and no one would be surprised. But then at the same time, maybe it's not.
Yeah.
And no one would be surprised with that either. You know what I mean? It's really, really difficult at this point to kind of predict when it's going to be. But that is the beauty of it, because golf allows you to any given weekend.
My whole thing is I just want to see him be in the top 10 by the final round. I mean,
Right,
that's really,
have him be there in
to
contention.
me, like, look, that's
on the weekend.
Yeah, on the weekend, be in contention. That's what I kind of want to see. And then from there, look, if he loses, he loses. But what I like to, you just don't like seeing. It's like watching a Michael Jordan for so long win championships, and then when we went to the Washington Wizards, just like, dang, I just want to see him get there one more time. And I think that's what with Tiger Woods. It's like, look, he's been so dominant in his era. He's changed the game of golf. Let's just be honest about it. He's changed the game. And Phil Mickelson himself, too. The battles they had, everybody who's in our era, they missed that. So you look at it, you're like, man, I just want to see you guys in the top 10 at the end of the day competing with these younger guys. That's what I want to see. So hopefully, that's the solution to his problem. Maybe he sticks with the iron more than he does the drivers. But he's got a long way to go because, again, this is a difficult course just like the one he did last month. So we'll see.
Once again, ESPY Awards also going on right now here in L.A. Danica Patrick hosting. I saw a couple clips that were posted online earlier, Keith. Looks like she's killing it so far. She's busting LeBron a bit. Yep. Not a big surprise there. Busted J.R. Smith as well. That's the gift that just keeps on giving.
Yeah. I feel bad for JR. JR's it's never ending.
No.
I think that's going to stick with him now that LeBron even left. Even when LeBron left and is going to the,
it still would have stuck.
Lakers,
even if he was in Cleveland, it still would have stuck.
Yeah, because the whole thing is they're going to say it's your fault, JR, that LeBron left. I mean, that's what they're going to. They're going to stick. They're sticking it to JR. So, he's going to be the butt. You know what? He's like the old. He's like the new JaVale McGee. Remember JaVale McGee was on Shaq and the Fool?
Oh, yeah.
And he was always getting clowned by Shaq, and they had to cut it out for a while. They had to tell him, like, man, leave him alone, this and that. You messing with him. Like, JR is going to get that the whole season next year. So, get used to it, JR.
Play of the year in the NFL from this past season. I don't know if it's the play necessarily of the year for me, but it's the most, jaw-dropping. The Minnesota Miracle.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Do we have to go back to that? Yeah.
Literally, people talk about all the time that they drop their jaw, but it usually doesn't actually happen. For that play, literally my jaw was on the ground.
Everybody's jaw was on the ground. I remember that day. I was sitting down with a buddy of mine, name is Jared. We're sitting down at a bar watching that game, and I literally said, all the Saints have to do is tackle and it's over. They'll win the game. And for some reason, in the back of my mind, someone was saying, this game's not over yet. Something's going to happen crazy. And it did.
You thought something was still happening?
Literally sat there like, no, you did not do that. Like, for some reason, I thought something crazy was going to happen. I don't know. I was like, the Saints got it in the bag. But
I was already looking ahead to I thought the Saints were going to the Super Bowl.
I said the Saints got it in the bag. And I was like, there's no way they can lose this game. But there was this little Tinkerbell, so to speak, in the back. It's like, Keith, something's going to happen. And then I was sitting there watching, and it did. And all I did, I'm not even a Saints fan. I almost threw up my food.
Yeah.
I was just like,
brutal. I couldn't even imagine being a Saints fan. Couldn't even imagine being
I can't believe
a New Orleans fan.
Oh, my God. I'm just coming from New Orleans.
Yeah.
I asked them, New Orleans, they do not want to talk about it.
Not surprising.
I mean, they trying to move on to the next. They will not say anything about that. And then on top of that, the trade happened with DeMar DeRozan down there. I mean, not DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah.
At the Saints, I was like, oh, what a dagger. Like, you're just getting hit right now. It was just like one after the next. But, man, that's the play of the year. Yeah, that has to be the play of the year. If I don't know.
Across the board, maybe.
Across the board, yeah. I don't know. I think it has to. The one I just mentioned, the reason why I'm going with it's tough. It really is tough. But the reason why I'm going with the young lady from Notre Dame is because she did it twice.
That was
back-to-back nights.
Beyond impressive.
And then Kobe tweeted about both times, like, okay, close. He was like, challenged her the next game, like, close the deal. Like, now that's Mamba-esque. Like, you won a national championship off a buzzer. Like, you did it already to advance to the national champion, and then do it again. It has to go to her. It has to.
It doesn't get much bigger than that. That was phenomenal. The ESPYs are always fun. I was there, Keith, back in 2010. I was telling you off the air before tonight's show. I've been to a couple different award shows. Obviously, that's really the one and only sports award show, and it is truly fun. It's a unique, very, very unique experience, and to me, in my opinion, it's better than any. Now, I'm biased, obviously, because we're huge sports fans, but it's better than any musical entertainment award show, in my opinion.
You know my background. You know, if I've worked every last award show.
Yeah, right. There's not much you haven't done.
I've worked every last award show. I'll have to say the ESPYs out of all of them, because I'm gonna be biased for it because I'm a sports fan. And I love that one. I enjoyed that one the most. But I've been blessed enough to work all of them, and it's great. It's a great experience. But the ESPYs, it's an honor. Like, especially if you're a sports fan. If you're a sports fan, just put that on your bucket list to go and actually go in and just kind of look at it. Even if you can you're on the Hollywood Boulevard and you're just walking, seeing the celebs. I mean, the athletes and celebs just walk on the red carpet. Do that, because it's a great experience. So. It was fortunate enough, you know what, Brad? I actually had an opportunity to work it this week. Like this week, their pop-up shots.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't do it because I had something else. I had another show. I had something to do. But listen, I've experienced before. It's a great time, so enjoy it. It's gonna be a great night for sports, and it's their time. This is their award show. So
that's right.
This is great.
Jim Kelly receiving tonight the Jimmy V Award for Courage. Battling a lot recently, just had somewhat of a reoccurrence of the cancer there in the mouth. They were just interviewing him on SportsCenter, Keith, yesterday up there in New York. He must have flown out today here to Los Angeles to receive the award, but he was working on one of the camps up there because obviously he lives up in the Buffalo area and stuff. And just a guy who just continues to get hit and knocked down, like seemingly a crazy amount of times left from right, and just keeps getting back up. There's been a lot of great recipients of that award over the years, and I forget if they've merged. That award used to be, I believe, the Arthur Ashe Award. And
yes.
They've now changed it to the Jimmy V
Award.
Or I think that's what they've done.
Yeah.
Regardless, it all is kind of under the same umbrella. There's been some great recipients of it, but no more deserving than Jim Kelly here this year, I think, and everything that he's gone through. Has lived a very tough life since he's retired, but definitely a great source of inspiration as he continues to battle through it all. So I'm looking forward to seeing that later on tonight when it airs out here on the West Coast. That's always the tough thing. The West Coast, things aren't always aired right away. It's a little different.
It really bothers me. Like, the ESPY Awards night, it should be like live, just like the Golden Globes.
Yeah, I don't get
the
it.
Oscars.
Now they moved over to ABC now.
Yeah.
Within the last year or two, it used to be on ESPN, and now they air it on ABC. So I'm local programming, news and stuff. I guess they're not able to show that live out here on the West Coast, but that's how it rolls sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's going to be great. I can't wait to watch it tonight and experience it. But I have to say, let me see, just really fast, what is your greatest ESPY moment since you experienced it? What was like one thing you could never forget about the ESPYs? Just experiencing it.
When I was there in 2010, or just all time? I'm trying to think specifically back in 2010. I can't remember a specific moment from that year. I want to say Seth Meyers hosted it.
Okay.
That year?
Yeah, he did.
I believe he did, yeah. So he was very good at that. To be honest, I cannot remember specific awards and who took home honors that year. But to me, my all-time favorite moment from the ESPY, it has to be Jimmy V's speech.
Yeah.
All-time favorite. That resonates the most, especially with the fact that people didn't even know at the time how sick he really was. And he wound up passing away about 2 months later or less, I think, after he gave that speech. That was the inaugural ESPYs back in the 90s. So that one stands out to me the most. There's been a lot of them, obviously, and the courageous type of moments and people who receive those awards they always seem to somewhat steal the show, as they should. And obviously we've seen a lot of great sports moments over the years, and they've been highlighted during the ESPYs throughout various times. And it's always, I always look at sports this way, and it always kind of comes full circle when we see the ESPYs each year, is that we've seen so many great things. We've been blessed to see that up close and personal, whether it be at games or whether watching them on TV or covering them on these types of shows. But I always think that it just keeps getting better, right?
Yeah.
And the best is always yet to come in sports, because seemingly we think to ourselves, oh, it's never going to get better than this. It's never going to, there's no way anything can top this. But here we are a year later, and we see whether it be the Notre Dame shot for the young lady there, hitting the game winners for the women's national championship in college basketball, the Philly special at the Super Bowl over the Patriots. We can also think back to, like we talked about earlier, the Minnesota Miracle. I mean, there's so many great moments from this past year in sports, and I imagine a year from now in 2019 we'll be talking about things that top that stuff, believe it or not. So to me, it's always about how it's a reminder that the best is always yet to come in sports.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I just want to say, just before we end, congratulations to Baker Mayfield. They said that he won the athlete of the year. So
congratulations to Baker. He's with your team now. So obviously he's your boy because he's on your team now, your second team.
He is not my boy, and he is not on my second team.
Your second favorite team is the Cleveland Browns.
Best college athlete goes Baker Mayfield. So, I mean, come on, man.
He's a great talent. I think
I can't wait for Hard Knocks. I just can't wait.
Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun. Hard Knocks is gonna be a blast when that gets going. But he's got a big. He's not Tim Tebow. Or I mean, not Tim Tebow. He's not Johnny Manziel either. He's gonna be better than both those guys. So he's a fun player, and I love the competitive juices. He went overboard a tad sometimes last year.
Yeah.
But I love the competitive juices, and I want winners. That's the thing. I hate to go on Mike Singletary on everybody, but I want winners, and I love that this is a guy who broke seemingly every record at Oklahoma in college, and I think he's poised to do a lot of great things in his rookie year coming up. So very well deserving there of that honor. Male Athlete of the Year, I take it at the ESPYs.
Yes, sir.
So great stuff. Once again, the Dodgers officially acquire Manny Machado today from the Baltimore Orioles. Manny Wood is back. I'm bringing that back. Manny Wood is officially back. And if he does anything remotely close to what he's done so far this season for Baltimore, I think all Dodger fans will get on board with it. They only gave up 5 prospects. I'm okay with it. I think all Dodger fans are okay with it.
Yep. Welcome to La La Land, Manny.
We're back tomorrow night, coming to you from Kings Cove over in El Segundo. We'll talk to our friends over there on Thursday evening. Also, don't forget the big debut, Behind the Mic, live on KABC, coming up on Monday, August the 6th. For Keith, I'm Brad. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. Keep living the dream.